Howdy, howdy,
Howdy!
and welcome to But It Was Aliens, the alien comedy podcast where we probe a true extraterrestrial incident to determine whether it really was of extraterrestrial origin. I'm your host this week, Kevin the Grey, and across the desk of Extraterrestrial Examination, we have our co-host, Granville Moonwalker. Today, I'm taking you back through time more than 4,000 years.
Way back.
You know of a little
Back
place?
into time.
Should have let you finish. I knew it was coming. You know of a little place called Ancient Egypt, right?
No.
And in our own town.
Explain it to me. What's the weather like?
Sunny.
What does it look like?
Sunny.
What are the people like?
Hot and sunny.
Awesome.
Sandy as shit. The Nile. So this is the week we get sand in our probers.
I got sand in my probe.
Welcome to the Pyramid Party. The Great Pyramids of Egypt
Ooh.
are at least 4,500 years old, and their origin, for most, is covered in mystery. Common knowledge suggests that we have no detailed records of their construction, and many a person has dedicated their entire life to solving this mystery. I'm going to dedicate about an hour of yours. Do you know much about the pyramids and how they were built by aliens, Granville?
Fuck.
Do you? That's good to know.
Pyramids. I wasn't expecting you to put built by aliens at the end, and it threw me. Because I have to answer, but it sounds like I agree. I know there's some funky shit with the aliens, with the pyramids.
Funky shit.
In terms of, I think it's the geometry of them and stuff like that. And also,
Yeah, we'll be covering that.
isn't there electricity in the pyramids?
We'll be covering that.
Okay. I will.
No, whatever you know.
Well, if the film Kung Pao is anything to go by,
And it is.
then
That's a legit academic source.
the aliens are pyramids themselves. So, and they're French, which is odd. But maybe if they are aliens, they are literally there waiting. The whole building just turned up. That's if Kung Pao's to go by.
Which it is.
So yeah, the pyramids are French aliens.
Glorious. Where is your mouth, chosen one?
Where is it?
The tallest pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, is at a height of approximately 455 feet. That's around 140 metres. With its original casing, it was probably about 480 feet. Obviously, today's tallest building is nearly 6 times higher than that, but they cheat with spires on top and whatnot, whereas the pyramids did not cheat. The pyramid is built from approximately 2.3 million perfectly crafted stone blocks, with some weighing more than 50 tons. It was the tallest building in the world until the Eiffel Tower came along in 1887, and whilst it looks rough today, the Great Pyramid once had a mirror-like effect in addition to what we believe was a solid gold top. Here's a picture of it there in its prime for you, Mr. Moonwalker.
Okay, that looks much different to the pyramids that we know today.
Yeah, outer casing and gold top.
Yeah.
That must have caught the light from a long way away.
Like a beacon
Yeah.
to summon other
Pyramids?
Maybe.
It is strange, isn't it, seeing it bright white
Do you know what it looks like to
after
me?
being... Sorry, go on.
A salad cover.
Okay.
Like the gold tips to the top, you just pop it over a bowl of salad. Keep the flies out. Damn flies.
Basically a triangular net.
Yes. It does look magnificent though.
It does. I wonder what happened to the outer casing and the gold top.
Did it get destroyed, or were people greedy and chipped away at it and sold it for things?
If it had a smooth, reflective surface, surely that would have been slippery. How the hell did people get up there to take the gold bit off the top?
Chipped away from the bottom.
And climbed their way up.
Climbed the stairs.
That must have taken a long time. How the hell did it... did no one notice that was going on?
Probably noticed. Probably nothing they could do to stop it.
A military force came in.
What if a pharaoh wanted it for himself?
He wanted to sit on it. He wanted that gold. So how do pyramids link to aliens? Well, there's a few ways, so I'm going to have to pull out the old scattergun approach once more. I'm motorboating the pyramids. Here we go. In 2001, Dr. Viktor Ivanovic, former scientist within Russia's Kremlin, literally claimed that the KGB found alien remains inside of the Great Pyramid, or Giza Plateau. Sorry, I've jumped in dry here, but the Secret KGB Files, a documentary available via Amazon, outlined that the pyramids are built to such precisions in the centre of Earth's landmass and are visible from the moon, and therefore were built by aliens for navigation purposes. Victor outlined that knowledge of alien origins was held in the Kremlin since 1961, along with the creature found in an Egyptian sarcophagus that year. I couldn't find any footage of that, so you'll have to buy the documentary yourself. But Victor explains that the alien visitation actually took place 11,000 years ago. The ancient astronaut theory, for which the Ancient Aliens television series is based upon, outlines that ancient aliens visited these ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptian and the Inca. So far, we have an alien on a site that may have been built by or for them, and the Russians know.
So they just rolled in and stole the corpse of an alien.
Yeah, that's basically exactly what they did.
What if it's... I say what if. I do say what if. What if they broke open this sarcophagus and it was just a deformed human body? Due to mummification, it would have morphed the way the body would decompose, I'm assuming. And what if they just had a tiny head? Or we've seen those skulls with the elongated heads. So maybe it was something like that, and they've just thought, this is weird, it's not normal, it's an alien.
That's an interesting idea. To be fair, it's quite logical, and we can't test it because this thing is held by the Russians.
What baffles me is the fact that we've had Russians go into these tombs and basically steal from a sarcophagus or sarcophagi. I don't know. From the sarcophagus. I'm pretty sure the British have done it. And I'm pretty sure the Americans have done it. Why are the Egyptians not stopping this happening? Like, are they just go in, take what you want? Or are they invading?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. So I'm not entirely sure whether the Russians just stormed the place in covertly. However, obviously you've got to think about colonialism.
True.
So a lot of countries weren't independent.
I hope there's all booby traps and stuff in those pyramids.
And meanwhile, even once they were independent, they still sold the rights to conduct archaeological studies. So, for example, in what's it called? The Land of the Kings.
These bastards, the
Valley of the
grave robbers.
Kings. They sold the rights to an American chap to dig there for years, and then once he carved it, they gave it to Lord Carnarvon. Anywho, experts generally agree that pyramids were more than tombs. Were they symbolic doors to the afterlife? We know that they are all on the west bank of the Nile, where the sun sets. The sunset symbolises the realm of the dead? Or were the pyramids astronomical observatories or a free source of energy? What we do know, to an extent, because new discoveries continue to be made, is that inside the pyramids there are chambers and vents. The temperature inside, despite scorching Egyptian temperatures outside, remains a constant 20 degrees Celsius. Also, and I personally find this a little strange, there has been no hieroglyphics or writing of any kind found within the walls of the Great Pyramid. If it's a tomb, you'd expect something, wouldn't you?
Don't think I would.
Why?
Because if it's a tomb where the sarcophagus of pharaohs, etc. are held, I don't think you would have writings and stuff in there.
But again, in the Valley of the Kings, which are tombs, there are an awful lot of writings. Think of King Tut's tomb. Covered in shit and full of shit. Admittedly, the shit can all be removed, robbed, but the walls...
Graffiti artists.
You think King Tut's tomb is solely graffiti artists?
Banksy of the Banks.
There's also... Sorry.
I was about to say, so there's no writing at all. No signs, no symbols, no...
Na.
Navigational clues.
Aye, laddie.
Okay.
There's also a granite coffer inside the Great Pyramid, which is too big to fit through the shaft leading to where it lays, which I'll show you purely for reference, along with some diagrams of the interior of the Great Pyramid that we know of. I actually feel like we're an educational podcast again today.
We are an educational. We are always an educational podcast, Kevin.
Absolutely. But before I show you these, quick side note. Napoleon went on an expedition to Egypt and apparently spent a while alone in the chamber of the Great Pyramid and came out petrified, but wouldn't tell anyone why. Aliens. Anywho, here are the pictures.
Did he get attacked by scarabs?
Perhaps.
I don't know why, but for some reason when I was a young kid, when I was younger, the word scarab was such a great word. It was like one of my favourite words in the world.
Was this around the time The Mummy came out?
No. It's before it.
Interesting.
Okay. Can you just tell me what that first picture is again? Because to me it just looks like I'm staring at a brick.
So it's a coffer, and it couldn't fit through the shaft into the room that it's in.
Is there a picture of the shaft?
No. But I can vouch for that without bullshitting.
Okay, I'm going to have to take your word for it because that just looks like a little brick in a room.
Yeah, but that's just demonstrating what the item is in the room.
I know, and I'm just saying what it looks like. Oh, I can't vouch for it. Just looks like a brick in the middle of a room where I can't see the whole room. Like, I can't see the way in, way out. And below we have pyramids. That middle pyramid, it looks like you can see the outer casing still on there.
It does have an outer casing, but it doesn't have the topper.
No, looks like it's been robbed.
But again, that makes you wonder how someone got up there to the outer casing and then took the gold off the top.
And the rest have been chipped away.
But yeah, then I've just shown you a couple of pictures of what we know of the interior of the pyramid.
Just thinking, could it have been chipped away by sandstorms?
I don't think... It's weathered, don't get me wrong, but...
Just trying to think of logical reasons for it.
I don't think the topper would have been taken away by sandstorms.
Depends how solid it was.
Gold. Solid gold.
Fucking hell. Totally forgot how to do our podcast here. What I'm looking at is a picture of 6 pyramids. There are 3 large ones, with the largest one being in the middle, followed by... Let me describe this better. I don't know if I can.
So again, this is just what we know of in the Great Pyramid. But as you can see, there's an awful lot of shit going on.
There is. I was about to say, why is there an air shaft towards like the king's and queen's chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, unless people are going to go into those chambers, I suppose, it needs to be air to get in and out. But are they thinking they might rise from the dead and need air? Or alien visitors might need air, but then do they breathe air?
Who knows indeed. That's the problem.
But there is a lot inside. Hidden chambers, hidden entrances. If there's no booby traps, I will be highly disappointed.
I don't think we found the booby traps yet.
There's a gallery here.
Right?
Is that a gallery in terms of picture gallery?
There's no pictures.
I thought you were just showing me one of the other ones that may have had pictures.
No.
But no. Ooh. Why the hidden chamber?
Well, that's the thing. We keep on finding more within it. And we don't know why the hell the things are there.
Maybe they held rituals there. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. But essentially, I guess this illustrates that more was potentially going on there than it just being a burial tomb. So you could argue that the interior is because Egyptian architects were building the chambers after the pyramid itself were built, and, confusingly, the Queen's chamber was actually to hold funeral treasure, so to speak. Meanwhile, the first King's chamber has appeared to have cracked, so they moved on and built a third chamber, but that one was unstable and therefore unfinished, so they went back and reinforced the roof of the now King's chamber, which is where that sarcophagus is. There is some evidence to back this up, such as beams in the roof redistributing weight and ancient remains of plaster. Fair enough. But did you know that the pyramid site is also linked to the Orion constellation?
In terms of how? I was thinking if you look at it from one direction, it's linked to it, or if you look up, you're directly under it.
When we first started, you mentioned that there's something interesting geographically about it, didn't you?
Geometrically.
Oh, geometrically. Okay. So Orion's constellation theory suggests that the three largest pyramids are aligned to the stars of Orion, which were associated with Osiris, the Egyptian god of rebirth and the afterlife. The BBC actually released a documentary on this in 1994, and a best-selling book called The Orion Mystery was written about it. Why else would the pyramids be in such a weird alignment around each other? I was going to go on and link the Sphinx to the constellation Leo, but I noticed that an article confirmed the pyramids to be a 38-degree angle, and several articles and journals confirmed Orion's measurements to be 47 to 50 degrees. So that's not exactly precisely replicating the constellation, is it? Orion's belt has a kink in it, deviating to the south. The pyramids have a slight kink deviating north. The original theory actually appears to have inverted the pyramids' lines without stating that this is what they did, almost fooling people into thinking that they matched, although the researchers do deny this. I wasted about 40 minutes of my life researching that. So basically I'm calling bullshit on the Orion theory.
What if it was in line?
But Orion's belt has moved.
Or the way our Earth has shifted and changed has slightly moved out of sync.
It's an interesting idea. I guess I can't completely rule it out.
Because the amount of, like, countries that were larger and smaller than they were, and the rise of tides.
I know
and
what
water,
you're saying, but I don't think there's been that much movement in the past 4,000 to 6,000 years.
But we don't know.
Compared to what there has been over several million years.
But we don't know.
We kind of do.
But do we?
Yeah, we can map our early Earth all the way back to, like, Pangea, is it? When all the continents were one?
But would it be the same if their cover was on and the gold tip? Are they measuring from the tip?
You just want to say tip, didn't you?
Or the base?
Did you see that it had shafts?
I did.
So ignoring all that, the pyramids...
You've just totally, like, blown past my actual question.
Yeah.
Was it?
No.
So they've done it from the pyramids now.
Yeah,
rather
but the
than
tip would
when...
have been in line with where the tip was. Like, it wouldn't have been a misshapen tip.
No, but it would have been slightly
Higher, but at the same angle.
Oh, same
Tip.
dot point.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tip of the tip. The pyramids are not just aligned celestially, but with magnetic north, as well as the size of the pyramid aligning perfectly with the Nile Delta origin, of course, all on the west side of the Nile. This was 4,600 years ago. The first magnet was made about 2,500 years ago in Greece, India, and China. Ancient Egyptians didn't even have compasses. You'd need a bird's eye view to even come close to this accuracy and alignment. So this, at least, does suggest aliens may have played a part. Doesn't it? You're frowning.
They could have used other equipment to read the stars and stuff like that.
Like what?
I don't know what they could have used, but they could have used things. I mean, they're pretty smart bastards.
They were.
So who's to say they didn't come up with something that we no longer, I wouldn't necessarily say use, because, well, we probably don't, but they were able to tell more from that
So
than
you're
we would.
suggesting they had equipment that fulfilled a similar purpose as to what we have now?
Yes.
Bastard.
Okay, why?
Well, I can't argue with that, can I? Because if they had, for example, wooden equipment, that likely would have all rotted away by now. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I can definitively say, nope, that's not right. You're testing my patience. Right.
And who knows how they read the stars. They would have had a clearer sky, or clearer view of the sky than we would.
Less light pollution.
And I've never been to Egypt and seen the sky, so...
Well, it would be different now anyway, as you say,
Yeah.
because now there's a lot more civilization, or modern civilization with lights and whatnot. Or are there? I'm coming back to that power plant idea.
They may have used the sun as a guide as well.
What do you mean by that?
Shadows. And tried and waited until night to see what lines up where.
Okay. Without light?
Well, they would have had...
Moonlight.
Yeah. Or even fire. But they could have started it in the day and then, okay, when it's dark,
Check the alignments,
this
the
stick
shadows.
lines with that star, etc., etc.
Okay, I guess that would explain why it's not quite fully accurate. So that power plant idea. The pyramids are giant machines transmitting electromagnetic frequencies. Despite slight evidence suggesting burials, for example that coffer earlier, no mummy was ever found inside the Great Pyramid. Khufu remains missing. There were no decorations or artifacts, as with other tombs. Meanwhile, all tombs were inaccessible. They had their entrances blocked off. The Great Pyramid is known to have had easy-to-open swivel doors. With those shafts, which go into the ground and into unexplored areas, the interiors actually resemble power plants. Those who have climbed the pyramid have felt tingling and mild electric shocks. It's illegal to climb it now, but it is flat on top, and in the 1800s, folks made it up there. Being by the Nile may have provided the energy source to power the power plant, which in turn distributed ancient energy. The pyramid itself is built of dolomite, is my name, and Eddie Murphy is very conductive. Meanwhile, there is evidence of copper wiring in the Queen's chamber. That's a bit smart, isn't it? Aliens? What are you pulling that face for?
Cogs are turning.
I completely forgot I'd written Eddie Murphy in there, and it really threw me as I was reading it.
I didn't realise that they were built, that there was the potential for water to be so close and channeled.
Yeah, it's
so
right on
maybe
the banks. Yeah.
that's why the electricity is there.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, copper. So the electricity... Are people saying that the electricity is only there from people getting, like, static shocks? Or electric tingling shocks? Or have they managed to I don't know, stick a bulb against a brick on the inside and it start to light
So
very
it's-
faintly.
Partially on the tingling, but I am going to go a little bit harder on that in a second.
Okay. Because I was going to say that's bullshit reason to say that there's electricity in the pyramids.
Any other questions on that bit before I poke further?
If there's copper wiring in the Queen's chamber, is it the only place there is copper wiring?
I'm not entirely sure, but we continue to find more and more new chambers and pieces within the pyramids.
And how much is there?
Enough.
I was just wondering if it was used
I
for
don't know the exact measurements.
decorational purposes.
I think it's set out as an actual wire rather than something. I don't know how it would be decorational.
Like tinsel?
Strange places to put tinsel, but okay. Maybe they had different customs then.
It's the Queen. Maybe you want to shower her or let her have a little bit of beauty in her tomb.
To be honest, again, most experts have ruled out that theory.
Damn experts.
But Sky News, amongst other agencies in 2018, did confirm that the Great Pyramid collects and concentrates electromagnetic energy in its chambers. Meanwhile, whilst theories suggest the pyramids are 4,500 years old, the weathering on them suggests that they are actually double that age. So do we trust the authorities? If the top was gold, that would have been super conductive. This thing could have been an ancient Tesla tower. Energy shot into the air and then rods were used to bring it back down in safe voltages. Egypt could have had power. We aren't taught this in school, just like we aren't taught about Tesla's possible free electricity.
That's a good... I don't know why that didn't come to me earlier. With the gold being on the top.
Yeah. Fuck. I've been waiting for this bit thinking you're going to be skeptical as hell until I mention the name Tesla. And remember...
I suppose with the copper running... Like we said, it was found in the Queen's chamber. You said there's more chambers where they're finding more stuff.
Yeah.
It's possible it runs through the whole pyramid.
Who knows?
Who knows? With the gold tip being superconductive.
Mm-hmm.
Really sensitive to an electric shock.
And remember, Egypt has about 28 tall obelisks too. If they had caps, they could have been Tesla rods. We've solved ancient Egypt. Ever notice that many ancient Egyptian carvings depict what appear to be giant light bulbs? I'll show you the Dendera light bulb just to jog memory, if you want to check out this image. And I'll post it on the socials, obviously.
Before we get on,
Right?
do you believe in reincarnation?
No.
Okay. If people did, maybe Tesla is a reincarnation of the person that thought of the design for the pyramids. Therefore not aliens. Just super smart humans,
But
way ahead of their time.
what if he himself is the reincarnation of an alien? Or aliens gave the first him the idea? Yeah.
Fuck you.
So here's the light bulb. I don't know what you're laughing at. This is a wonderful ancient image.
Okay, so there's many ways to describe this. And I'm going to name a few. Two people, Egyptians, holding giant light bulbs with... I suppose they're kneeling, so they would look half the size of the others. But there's people underneath kneeling, holding up the light bulbs because they're that big.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing they look like, two giant Egyptians with two giant wangs
That's where I thought you were going to go.
being held up by some kneeling Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
Third, two giant Egyptians holding 2 giant sperm with tails. Or what they have done is we have 2 giant Egyptians who have blown up 2 giant condoms.
It's like the episode the other week. The condom community.
Precisely. I have no doubt that Greybeard will post this picture so you can see what I'm talking about.
It's quite a landscape image, so I hope it fits on Instagram. But if not, I'll stick it in extraterrestrial towers.
Could be a tower poster. I mean, if those were your wang, as soon as you get a hard on, you're dying.
Dead, yeah. Absolutely. That's like at least twice the length of the people holding them.
I don't even think there's enough blood in the body
girthy
to
get a semi. I have another bonkers coincidence or piece of evidence for you to get us back to aliens. The speed of light is 299,792,458 metres per second.
Hope you used a calculator, like I did, or used math to work that out.
I googled what's the speed of light. But why is that relevant, I hear you ask? The geographic coordinates for the Great Pyramids are 29.9792458 degrees north. How? How can that be a coincidence? The coordinates are the speed of damn light.
Like I said, smart people with sticks figured this out.
And considering this was thousands of years ago, how could ancient Egyptians know the speed of light? Humans didn't measure this speed with precision until 1950. The Egyptians didn't even use meters. Wait, that's a bad thing, isn't it? The speed of light.
Fuck! How do I argue this? I'm going to say...
Yes.
So who is credited with measuring the speed of light to precision?
Oh God, I can't remember.
What if they stole the idea?
From where?
The Egyptians.
And it took until 1950 for someone to do that. You can't shrug at me.
What if it's a case of the Egyptians found it out or figured it out, just
didn't document it anywhere other than in the coordinates of the pyramids?
Possibly. And someone else found it and thought, oh, this is such a big find. No one else has figured this out. And now that it's found out that the Egyptians already knew it, or it was built into the pyramids or whatnot, people are saying, nah, it must be aliens. They couldn't have been that smart to do that. What if they fucking were?
On that note, travelling at the speed of light is the only theorised way we've come up with to travel in time. What if aliens had mastered space-time travel and they came and built the pyramids to guide us in that direction? Or even simply to build a monument to this travel and market? The location can't be a coincidence, can it? It just can't. This is some ancient astronaut shit. I'm gonna grow my hair crazy as I tell you that I'm not saying that it was aliens, but what if these ancient aliens were mistaken for gods? Is such a thing even possible? Yes, it is.
Oh, the fact that you just turned into him at the end there, I really just want to dismiss it. I really don't want to say this is aliens. But I have no arguments for some of it.
Intriguing, right? Weirdly, I don't actually think we've mentioned ancient aliens too many times on this podcast.
It's the speed of light and the coordinates for the pyramids. That's what has simply just...
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It's like I was on a bungee cord and I was firmly running in one direction and this one thing has snapped me back. Ah, you son of a bitch.
If ancient aliens visited Egypt, perhaps to study their culture, that could explain some of the alien-like symbols we see in their hieroglyphics and whatnot. Let's check out a clip from the History Channel's Ancient Aliens for one more idea involving Moses.
Let's.
According to the Hebrew Bible, Moses was raised as a nobleman in ancient Egypt and as the adopted son and brother
I'm watching the whole thing.
powerful pharaohs.
How long is it?
Is
3
it
minutes.
possible that when he led the Israelites on their exodus into the desert, he was already in possession of secret extraterrestrial devices? Devices that would be thousands of years ahead of his time.
Today, through augmented reality and VR, we can see that our technological advances can actually extend someone into a whole new environment by placing these devices on their head.
What if people were just clever?
It's very possible that some of these ancient devices constructed for the pharaoh were actually extending their consciousness to another physical location, or possibly project his physical body like a stargate to some other location.
Oh, shut up.
That the biblical account of a throne, one that transported Moses to the stars, is directly connected to Dr. Giulio Magli's theory that the recently discovered void inside the Great Pyramid could contain some sort of sacred metallic transportation device. And if so, could it be the same object that the ancient Egyptians referred to as the Ship of Eternity? For ancient astronaut theorists, the answer is a profound yes.
Yes.
And they
The more they
believe
talk,
the ultimate evidence of Earth's
the less I'm on board.
may be closer than ever before.
This place to me is ground zero for all the theories that I have investigated, and actually my resolve has strengthened in taking a secondary and a tertiary look at ancient Egypt to look at even more evidence, because I think that's incredibly important.
What I've learned as well is that just the fact that you, and hopefully others, are also open-minded enough to debate and discuss the theories, which is extremely important in my opinion. That's how science actually works.
Absolutely. Look, I agree that many of the ancient things are rooted in symbolism. However, my question is always, how or where did the symbolism originate? Many of the ancient structure were built in honor of the gods. But my question is, why and where did it begin? And above all, how?
How was the religion inspired?
Yes.
What inspired the religion?
Yes.
And it's a great question to have, and I don't have an answer for it. We are at crossroads.
Yes.
That is about to change the future. I think we're about to enter a new era of RQ technology. And when archaeology and technology mix together, I think the future of Egyptology will be fascinating. I mean, think how much stuff is under the sands just right in front of you,
Yes.
right here.
I 100% agree. I argue that perhaps the ancient Egyptians had access to sophisticated technology. So the fact that we today are discovering ancient sites by means of modern technology, that to me is the present meeting the past, and the past meeting the present and the future, of course.
What if they had?
I went cross-eyed at the end. The past meeting the present, and the present meeting the future.
What if the Egyptians had a Tesla? Not the car.
The coil, you mean?
No, the guy. Their version
yeah.
of
Yeah.
Tesla. Mm-hmm. What if there was just more like it? And they were clever and just figured out how these things would work. And then as they passed on, there was no one to pick up the mantle afterwards.
The civilization ultimately got wiped out by the Romans, etc. And the information was just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah? Possible?
Because they may not have been able to read and decipher what was written down or how they wrote it.
If they even did write it.
Yeah. Or they do have it down and it's in hieroglyphics, in pyramids and other places. I'm really trying to say this isn't aliens.
Well, it's time for me to help you out. Looking at alternatives, boring bastards claim that humans built the pyramids. There is an unfinished obelisk at the Aswan quarry in Egypt of approximately 1,000 tons and made of granite. So what this is a big rock from between 1508 and 1458 BC, which was started but then abandoned because it cracked. This shows us how ancient Egyptians carved their stones directly out of bedrock. You can still see marks from their tools and coloured lines where they were working. It's not for comedy value, but I've got a photo just to show you what I'm talking about here, Granville.
Yeah, that's
So basically, they're
huge.
Yeah, they're carving a big block.
And yeah, the cracks at the top of it, isn't it? You can see where it has cracked.
So they left that block and went on to the next.
What I would also like to say is people were a lot... I'm not saying that they could lift that amount of weight, but people were a lot stronger back then than they were now due to working with tools and working outside and doing a lot of manual labour. They're naturally going to be stronger, whereas we have become docile in that effect. Not everybody.
I was going to say, like an IT engineer may not be as strong as what a manual labourer may have been in ancient Egypt, but then we have evolved, we have developed in other ways. For example, we live longer now.
Oh yeah, not
and whatnot.
I just mean, but you're going to work.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
So your natural strength is probably going to be 10 times. I wouldn't say 10 times, but it's going to be more than
what I would say is that people have always been innovative.
Mm-hmm.
So who are we to say that ancient people couldn't build these things?
They may have found a way to, I wouldn't say make a crane, but they would have found a way to have moved the rocks.
So on that note...
And then obviously as it got taller and taller, the rocks got smaller and smaller.
So the pyramids were built of limestone, granite, basalt, mortar and baked mud bricks. We know that limestone blocks were quarried at Giza. Granite likely came from this Aswan. We also know some other sites for the materials. So basically, Egyptians or aliens carved out the pyramid blocks from the bedrock and then transported them to the pyramid site. That's the only bit we really don't know, how they moved them. You can't use wheels on desert sand, so the most likely explanation is wooden sleigh and ropes. They could also have been loaded onto barges at a rate of 300 stones per day transported. Once at the site, a combination of lever systems, ramps and kites with pulleys likely got the blocks into place. Yes, kites. 2 6-foot by 15-foot kites can easily lift the average pyramid block with 25 mile per hour winds. But it was probably mainly ramps.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The Wadi Al Jarf papyri, only properly excavated in 2011, included a diary from the head of a team of about 40 workers outlining how they worked at the quarries and loaded the stones onto boats. In 2018, one of the ramps was found in a nearby quarry. So,
man-made. But the positioning is still, fantastic.
Yeah. Is that a complete coincidence? Because the odds of that are freaking astronomical. Absolutely bonkers.
Again, Tesla-like genius.
Mm-hmm.
Or even someone that was more of a genius than Tesla, to be fair. Yeah, they would have I wouldn't say had the schematics, but they would have planned it out where they wanted each stone, rough carving. I would say drawn lines in the sand, but probably not marked it with sticks or...
Well, they did draw on the stones with coloured lines.
I meant an outline in the sand of where each stone would go. Well, not each stone, but where the corners would be for it to be pointing where it needs to point. And possibly use, like I said, the sun during the day.
Yeah, I just want to
spitballing that.
Yeah, I just want to clarify: the pyramids weren't built by slaves, as some are taught in school. But I suppose, if the truth was widely known, people may get on to the power plant truth Also, a few final points. The Great Pyramid's corner foundations are built into a ball and socket joint to protect against heat and earthquakes. We know that humans do this. Oh, and the Great Pyramid is slightly lopsided. There are also step pyramids in Egypt, which are probably evidence as to Egyptian progression towards the smooth edge. Here's a photo of the step pyramid of Joseph for you, Granville.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
So we can kind of see Egyptians... Well, firstly, we've got evidence that they were built by workforce teams, outlining how they transported them and whatnot. And then we can see the progression from the stepped pyramid towards the smooth pyramid as their technology probably advanced.
Probably made the step, put the gold bit on the top and work down for the rest of it.
Quite potentially, actually, yeah. So to summarise, we've had the remarkable 4,500-year-old pyramids built for or by aliens, with an alien body within them found by the Russians in 1961 and dating back 11,000 years, which weirdly would match up with the level of weathering on the pyramids and Sphinx. The pyramids are tombs, except that no hieroglyphics or burial-esque decorations were found. The pyramids match Orion's belt, except that it turns out that they don't. But they did have swivel doors and so were meant to be accessible, which general tombs were not. The pyramids are built from materials and in a manner that would suggest extreme conductivity. Meanwhile, water underground and along the Nile, and water wetting the pyramids, could provide a source of electricity which would be further powered by the gold cap to the pyramid. So it's a power plant giving free Tesla-like energy, hence why this was covered up. Conspiracy. The coordinates of the pyramid match the speed of light. Finally, an ancient document outlines that they were indeed man-made by paid workers. Anything left on your mind before we conclude?
I was going to say maybe these were essentially going to be something that were used day in, day out.
Like a power plant?
No. But maybe the person that thought of it all died early.
Old Tesla.
Yeah. Egyptian Tesla. E.T. Aliens.
E.T. built the pyramid.
I'm saying that E.T. built the pyramids.
Oh, that's the next step. Are you saying that it was aliens?
I'm saying E.T. built the pyramids.
And can you clarify who E.T. is?
Egyptian Tesla. Yeah, the speed of light thing did throw me, because that is precise. Like, ridiculously precise. But everything said after has put me back on the right path. This is not aliens for me.
Yeah.
However, E.T. built the pyramids.
So I'm also not saying that it was aliens. This file very quickly illustrated to me that it was not aliens, but frick my dick and call me Nigel, I am gradually becoming a conspiracy theorist. Father Crespi Hitler? Ancient Egyptian Tesla towers? This is almost, but it was conspiracy. But regardless, I did find this a really interesting case. There's an awful lot I didn't even come close to touching upon too. In a future episode, we could return to Egypt. Okay, so we are saying that the pyramids were built by humans. But what about the Egyptian gods themselves? Human body? Cat head? Alien. Do you have any final thoughts?
I would like to say that speed of light thing had me. And I was like, I can't argue it. And then we played the clip from Ancient Aliens. And anytime I watch it, it immediately makes me very skeptical of it all.
I just find it hilarious.
And I can't take it seriously in the slightest.
That's fair.
So where I was slightly on the fence about to have my balls splintered, hearing that completely threw me on the other side, gave me a soft landing.
Yeah, it plucked that wood out.
My balls were intact.
To be honest, aliens and pyramids is something you hear a lot of crazy shit about. Like if you go on Twitter, for example, you'll see someone tweeting every other day that the pyramids were built by aliens, but no one ever puts forward any evidence. It's literally just that statement, oh, aliens built the pyramids. There's not actually a huge amount out there to suggest as to why people believe that. But there is an awful lot out there suggesting that humans did.
I think it's just because it's such a structural marvel. It's fantastic to see, and it's still around now, and they're like, surely humans couldn't have done that.
Yeah, people do the same thing about any ancient structure, don't they? Like Stonehenge. Oh, aliens built Stonehenge, but obviously it was Merlin and giants.
Not Merlin.
Merlin was friends with the giants.
He didn't do shit.
He commanded them. I kind of just had to pluck loads of different information on the pyramids out and stick it into a kind of forced narrative around aliens, because there just isn't that much there. But yeah, I think we can safely say that the pyramids weren't built by aliens, unfortunately. And that is today's show. Thank you, one and all, for listening to the But It Was Aliens podcast. If you want to probe us, we are on the Twitter. On the Twitter! At But It Was Aliens. We are the same on Facebook, and we have a group called Extraterrestrial Towers. Join us and chat about our probes, or maybe share your own experiences. Until then, we will be up in your ears each and every Thursday with a new real-life alien mystery to unravel. But until then, have you ever sat for a while in an Egyptian burial chamber and gotten scared?
No, but I would like to.
Have you ever produced free energy for the world and not been sure why it was covered up?
Yes.
Do you have sex with cat-headed aliens but nobody will believe you?
Can't say I do.
Liar. If in doubt, the truth is up there. #probe.
You call me a liar, but you believed me when I told you.
Huh?
You said, have you ever had sex with cat-head aliens but nobody will believe you? You believed me. Therefore, that statement is wrong. You called me a liar. I wasn't lying. #probe.
Cat fucker.